Cool. Thank you very much, Jordan. So up next we have our first poetry entry. This one comes from Simone Blaser. Simone Blaser lives, writes, and organizes poetry readings in Brooklyn. She studied with Kenny Goldsmith and Charles Bernstein as an undergrad, and currently works for a literary agency in Manhattan. Everyone, please, a warm welcome to Simone Blaser.
Thank you. Cabinet des Apaux. Sylvia Boren, garden warbler. Blow suck with small jolts by blocking the two side openings. Blow the sound rolling action of the tongue and moving fingers. Cardulius cannabina, melodious linnet. Give shocks looks by jerky movements of the tongue or rolled, number 21A. Streptopelia tortor, turtle dove. Take decoy firmly in hand, the worm holes up and toward you, and then, applying his mouth over, cooing, blowing. Anas creka, teal, number 32. Plug the hole and blow half, pronouncing the language with true. Anthus pratentis, number 103. Gutturally blow by saying pie. Repetitions and trills accelerated decline ending. Chorus C. Corone, number 6. The decoy between the thumb and forefinger and blow by modulating its fingers, covering, pronouncing wah or or. Pluralis apricaria, gold, number 41. Say, by plugging the hole with the index, leak oo and raise a finger for each syllable. Paris major, number 76. Breathe calmly, twice rated, then plug the hole with the index. Repeat several times, titi poo titi. Alauda arvensis, singing very strong and long, high tone, burp throat while sucking. Take the decoy tight in hand, saying qua while blowing slightly several times. Corvos corone, illegible. Cordus marula, blackbird. Whistle, blow 5 or 6 times, saying co, number 112. Passe domesticus, sparrow, sedentary. Cries ch, tss, wheat, etc. Gutturally blow by blows, small, discreet, 137, donation from Mr. Bichot. Modicilla cinerea, wagtail. Blow by saying s, 3 consecutive tones, number 25. Columbus polumbus, pigeon. Take the decoy solidly, holes facing up and toward you, then by applying the above mouth, cooing carefully, number 364. Upopa epop, hupo, breathe once. Number 69, Columba livia, rock dove. Plug with the index finger the hole in the washer and wear a mouth. Blow the slot by a shots, roll language, technical slang. Melanita nigra, black. Cries and melodious flutes, curly trucklos. Tortoise philomelos, thrush, chick, rapido mont, repeated. Scalopax rusticola, woodcock. Acute blow jerks pwop like a little squeeze, number 14. Larus riclibundus, seagull. A finger on each of the small hole with gusts, vigorous and charm, modulated by the play of fingers, giving small cries, critch. Tortoise marula, blackbird 112, tock, or alarm, tick, blow 5 or 6 times by co. Perdix, number 46, gray partridge, rapper and explosive, while blowing, do with the language several times. Alphabet. A, rapid utterance, a mere voice glide, the sixth note of the diatonic scale of C major or the first note of the relative minor scale of C, a single playing gramophone record, war cry. B, sonant, labial mute, lip voice stop, the seventh note of the scale of C major, the first note semitone notes of the scale, a piece of music, a single playing gramophone record, bass, basso. C, the latter sound, the g sound, the k sound, the phonetic representative, the sound k, the k sound, the sound of ch, the sound of ch. These new sounds, the sound k, the sound k, two sounds k and ts, change of sound, the sound ts, this sound ts, the hard sound k, the soft sound ts, the k sound bark, barking, the sound of sh. This sound, sounds of ch, the first note or keynote of the natural major scale, the scale or key, a tenor saxophone, countertenor, country and western music, compact disc sound. D, sonant, dental mute, point voice stop, a breath consonant, the second note of the natural major scale, decibel, the dynamic range of reproduced sound, digital compact cassette. E, a sound resembling that of two sounds, the sound now expressed, exceptional sounds, obscure sounds. The mere voice glides, certain other sounds sounded, that sound descends from a long vowel or diphthong. The sound sounded, the sound, this sound, the sound, usual sound, various sounded, the sound, euphony, these diphthongs, original sounds, the sound, sounded. The voiced, the sound of which is the usual symbol, the third note of the diatonic scale of C major, mi and the sol fa notation, extended play record. F, the sounds of the sound voiceless labiodental spirant, the sound the corresponding voiced spirant, the voice sound sounded voice to the fourth note of the diatonic scale of C major, fa forte loud, fortissimo very loud, più forte louder. G, the voiced guttural stop, a sibilated four different sounds, the voiced guttural and palatal stop, the voiced guttural and palatal spirant. These sounds, the guttural stop, g, a palatal spirant, j. A guttural or a palatal, the associated sounds, the complex sounds, two sound, the sounds particular to the native words, the sound of j, the sound, the guttural voice spirant, hard sound, g, the soft sound, j, the sound j, sounded singeth, singing, sounded laugh, the fifth note of the diatonic scale of C major, sol radio service. H, laryngeal or guttural spirant, a rough aspirate, breath sound, guttural aspirate, guttural spirant, guttural spirant, audible simple sounds, the sound exemplifying the sound, the aspirate strongly and distinctly aspirated, the aspirate, the emphatic or energetic utterance, oh, ah, bah, hurrah, the expression of simple sounds, the aspirated consonants, simple spirants, spirants or aspirates, the sound or certain sounds, certain English sounds, simple sound, Slavonic and Semitic guttural spirants, Sanskrit and Indian aspirates, other alien sounds, the phonetic representation of French, j, the note b, a natural musical score, horns, heavy metal music. I, diphthongs, the sound of y, g, soft, other sounds, a sound, the same sound, our current sound of short I, a diphthong, the utterance of the long vowel, the sound began with an opener, the diphthong, the new diphthong, their foreign sounds, the sounds that occur in stressed syllables, diphthongs, and acute accent J. This yut sound, a consonantal diphthong, a sound j, the original guttural sound of g, to the same sound j. This new sound, the change sound, the sound, a consonant sound j, the consonant sound, the regular and practically uniform sound, the consonantal diphthong, the sound of the Roman E consonant, the same sound, Japanese pop music, K. Its sound, the back voiceless stop consonant, guttural tenuous, the k sound, the sound of s, the hard or k sound of k, sound, the original Teutonic k sound, this variety of sounds, the guttural and palatal sound, the guttural sound, the same sounds, speak, music, distinct gutturals, several fricative and aspirated sounds, L. The sound is sound produced by the emission of a breath at the sides or one side of the oral passage when it is partially closed by the contact of the point of the tongue with the gums or palate. Guttural acoustic quality, uttered its sound is duller or thicker. The adjacent sounds voiced a glide, the sound 390 to 1550 megahertz, and solmization law, low frequency long playing record. M, the sound it represents. Mezzo equals mezzo forte equals mezzo piano. Metronome, organ music, musical director, a roaring lion, magnetic resonance, popular music, a megahertz, megahertz. N, the sound it represents. Spoken text, a prayer, speech equals noise, noise. O, the sound it represents. Official soundtrack. Say or exclaim, oh, a ballad, song, street cries, an utterance or exclamation, an anthem. P, the sound it represents. Other sounds, piano, softly, A, pianoforte, soft then loud, C, more loudly, a high-level language perceived noise decibels, music pianissimo, very softly, ring. Q, the sound it represents. A shortened or clipped pronunciation, the gospel speech, say, said, say, quick-firing gun, sound recording, quadraphonic recording, and reproduction radio. R, the sound it represents. Speech, a vowel, sound, radio, 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 ringer, radio, frequency, radio, record, record, radio, telephone, music, opera, pronouncing. S, sibilant, a class of sounds pronounced z, pronounced s, a sound pronounced s, voice sounds pronounced z, voicing the initial s, pronounced s, rapidly pronounced, acoustic effect, vulgar speech, its sound, radio, super high frequency, radio, quadraphonic recording, supersonic radio, 1550 and 5200 megahertz, radio communication, super audio CD. T, visible speech, t, sound, the true dental t. Its sound is much closer to the cerebral than to the dental. Its proper sound, the sound of sh, the living sound, the original sound, name sound, rapid speech, bustle, two simple sounds, its sound, tasto, tempor, tenor, tutti, radio-verbal communication tone. U, tune, the vowel sounds its own sound, the sound remained its sound, the resultant sounds, the sounds u, the original sound of u, this sound, u sound. V, this sound, the semivocalic sound, the labiodental voice spirant, the sound, the voicing and actual pronunciation. To speak, they say vinegar for vinegar, feel for veal, and contrary-wise, a vox for a fox, vor for four, voiced, the sound in all its positions, very high frequency, radio waves 30 and 300 megahertz, radio, very low frequency, radio waves 10 and 30 kilohertz, music, violino, violin, voce, voice. W. This sound, gutturally modified, bilabial voice spirant. The sound, this Latin sound, the sound, it is sounded. The sound, any other sound, speech, this sound, a mispronunciation of its sound. Crap. X. The pronunciation, they sound, true sound, its sound. Frequencies around 10,000 megahertz. Y. Final I sounds, him, the voice palatal spirant, j, the guttural and palatal spirants, the voice guttural and palatal stops, the vocalic sounds, him says the consonantal sound, its sound. Z, the phonetic value j, voix, voix, voice. This phonetic value voix, voix, the voiced s, the voiced s, the sounds j, the sound z, the voiced analog of sound, its sound, a buzzing around the sound of snoring, a noise or noises, the sound of snoring. Thank you.